Eden Zero Chapter 279 is out, and man, was this a really good chapter. We get the setups for all these fights, we get Shiki and Rebecca having a nice conversation at the start, we got an awesome color spread, an awesome color page, and, well, above all else, we see Ziggy doing something awesome towards the end of this chapter, and I am excited to see how things are going to pan out in the future. But before we get into this chapter, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. Eden Zero's been pretty good lately, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. So, let's get started. Chapter 279 of Eden Zero, titled Super Ziggy, and we start off with a color page showcasing Shiki, Rebecca, Pino, and Happy in the Taurus ship as they're discussing what's going on with the Eden Zero. They mention that the transmission has ended and if they wonder if everything's going to be okay. Rebecca talks to Shiki, asking him if he really thinks he can destroy the chronophage. But Shiki says, yeah, as long as it's around, the cosmoses will never know peace. As we get an awesome color page of the 4 shining stars, and what I like about it is that on all their outfits, they actually have an image of their favorite person on the Eden Zero crew. Valkyrie is Homura, which is Shiki, Hermit is Wise, and Sister is Rebecca, showcasing that the shining stars have their favorites on the Eden Zero, and it is very sweet with Valkyrie and Homura's mother-daughter, trainee-trainer relationship, which literally being Shiki's mother, Hermit and Wise basically being set up to basically be together, and Sister and Rebecca, and I just think it's because Sister likes teasing Rebecca and finds Rebecca kind of fun to be around. But moving on with the chapter. Happy asks Shiki if he can actually destroy it. Shiki says, yeah, that's going to be my last job. Rebecca says, don't say last, as Shiki says, sorry about that. Not last. I bet it'll be the finale of this adventure. As we cut back to the Eden Zero running away from the One, as with evasion maneuvers are still active, even though the shining stars are kind of caught up by Cure, as I think which is probably still giving commands to the ship and has it on autopilot. Clean and Jin are facing off against Cure, as Jin sends Clean to go and steer the ship. Cure tries to take on Clean, but Jin uses wind to slice up Cure and turn him to mincemeat. But as we think that Cure is taken out, and Jin's showing his obvious dissatisfaction, Cure then ends up laughing and repairs himself, stating that his power is regeneration. As Jin takes off his cloak and says, oh yeah, now that you mention, I remember that. And it's a pain in the neck. Obviously this was a thing in the previous loop, and now we get Jin facing off against Cure. I do think Clean's going to get the ship under control and then jump into the fight. Maybe free Witch so she can fully pilot the thing so she can help Jin and not so he doesn't take on Cure by himself. But we then cut off to Homura as she's chasing after Lady Valkyrie. She then senses her ether, saying that it's dreadfully frightful, like an enormous power about to burst. And she then sees that Lady Freya is upside down inside the Spa of Edens, shocking Homura, as we then see that the water in the spa is beginning to bubble up and evaporate. As with all the water gone, all that's left is Lady Freya on her head upside down. Now, really quick, I want to say that this is actually a pretty smart idea. While they are in the middle of a war, the Spot of Edens does actually give people a boost in their ether gear. So by evaporating it, it also makes it so that if they actually wanted to, they wouldn't get stronger while being in the bath. Now obviously they're in the middle of a war, so they're not going to use it, but it is kind of a nice touch in detail to have Lady Freya do this, and for all we know, she also did this to kind of boost up her own ether as well. Homura then essentially says that this is a place for the crew to relax, and that she kind of wants outsiders to vacate the area immediately. Lady Freya jumps up and introduces herself to Homura, saying that she was created on a certain planet to be used as a weapon of war, that she was programmed with every military strategy in existence, and that she was meant to work as a soldier that could use every armament. But she says that she rejected that plan. She had no interest in the conflicts of humans fought amongst themselves. She goes on to say, but I did have an interest in strength. After all, I was given this body. I wanted to see what I could do. And as a result, the war ended. A total of approximately 1.6 billion humans died from both sides. She ended the war by killing everyone that was in the war. I guess that's one way to end the conflict. But she literally just did it to see like, I wonder what I could do. And she did it. Frightening. As then with a quick sleight of hand, she says, all at my hand, as Homura is then pushed back. And her clothes are turned to, well, ribbons. Humiliating Homura. Again, Mashma, come on. I get we're in the spa, but you don't have to strip the girl again. I'm all for fan service every now and again, but we're in the middle of a very tense situation. Lady Freya is then pleased by just humiliating Homura and saying, I believe it is standard for humans to disrobe when entering the bath, as Homura, outside of, being in this embarrassing situation, is more so concerned with the fact that she didn't even see her move. She couldn't even follow the movements of Freya's sword, saying that after all the years of her training, after finally getting the approval from her master, she couldn't see a single flash of her sword. One may be skilled, but there is always someone better. She knows it, and then she starts to shake. Telling them not to shake, she then says, "My legs are to carry me forward," as she runs up towards Lady Freya. Now, obviously, I have not shown these panels because I don't want to get demonetized, and I really don't feel like censoring stuff in today's chapter. But the fights for Cure and Freya are set up, and now we're going to see how things plan out. We then cut back to Ziggy and Void as the two of them keep clashing with their gravity fists. Ziggy says that their gravity is pretty evenly matched, but Void says, "Yeah, but I also got power over time," as he then tries to accelerate himself to appear right behind Ziggy, saying, "You cannot defeat me." And in an instant, Ziggy turns around and in an awesome 2-page spread, punches Void back after he accelerated himself and reveals his new overdrive form, which aptly titled by the chapter is Super Ziggy, and this looks so menacing and so freaking cool. Almost Demon King Ziggy for sure. The Mechanical King, who gives a crap? This is Demon King Ziggy, and this looks awesome. And as Void realizes that Ziggy's in overdrive, Ziggy opens his mouth with a demonic look and then punches Void straight through the gut, ending the chapter. Man, that was crazy. We not only got the setup for all these fights, but Ziggy and Void are still clashing, and Ziggy reveals his brand new overdrive that looks so sick and kind of reminds me a bit of a mixture of like Marred Gear and I think Acnologia in a sense in terms of his design, and I kind of dig it. It looks appropriately cool and badass, but also has this air of just menace towards him. And what made it even more satisfying is that he seemingly took out Void. Now obviously Void's not going to be done here right now, it'd be too soon and he is the final villain, but showcasing Ziggy going all out right in this instance is honestly very cool, and having Ziggy have a new overdrive form is, by all means, amazing, and this is probably my thumbnail. And I'm curious to see how this fight will play out. Obviously Void is an android, so I don't think a hole in the gut is going to affect them all too much, and for all we know, Void can just rebuild himself, if anything. But this does bring us to an interesting point in the fight, where Ziggy is going all out, and we might have to see Void go into overdrive as well for this fight to continue onward. And we still got these other fights that are going on right now, so they'll probably each get like maybe 2 to 3 chapters each as we continue on with the story. But I don't really have too much to add to this. This chapter was really fun. I like the interactions. I like the setup for the fights. It sucks that Homura got basically stripped in this chapter, because I really wanted to show these panels, but unfortunately we can't. She's probably going to go into overdrive to take on Lady Freya anyway, so we'll see what happens. And I can't wait to see Jin actually try and do something against Cure, and Clean probably joining in as well. But Void versus Ziggy was definitely my highlight of the chapter. The design is just very sick. I don't have much to add this week, other than Shiki basically saying that their adventure will end after he takes out the chronophage and that it's his last job. This might end up going with the theory that Shiki will die at the end of Eden Zero or sacrifice himself for all we know. That is still a very likely possibility, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that's it. That was the chapter, and everything was honestly really fun to it, and I enjoyed it a lot. What did you guys think? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and shows you guys enjoy the content I'm making here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.
There's a tale, a legend told when the night was full.